We're going to have Mr. Brock Pierce come up, and he's going to speak. He's going to speak to the ancestors, because that's what stage is. It brings the ancestors in. It brings the elements, not just something to do. So remember, when you light up this stage, you're lighting up your ancestors. You're lighting up the energies to come in to support you. So this is for you, Brock. All right? Oh.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, light that sage to light up this stage. I've said a few different things already today, and I've heard so many words from everyone that I've heard. Words that resonate. Words that I find myself so often saying. You know, because we all speak, you know, those of us here, from that same sort of ethereal, you know, place. We're all tapping in. We're all, you know, connected to that same thing. And what's happening here, you know, I see the foundation, right? This is a relatively small group, but every single person here is like brothers, sisters. Like, this is the sort of foundation on which, you know, we can build whatever we're intended to build in this new earth. You know, it's not about quantity right now. This is about quality as we go out and bring it all together, as, you know, this spark, you know, becomes the light, you know, the light of the world. So a couple of things I just wanted to add that, you know, we didn't mention. Just a couple of things to add to, you know, one point in particular, because I talked about money and my perspective on it, you know, form of stored energy. You know, it's a currency. You know, let's be good conductors or stewards of it. And so I'll kind of go from one negative into a positive. Well, before I get into the negative piece, I want to comment on one of the questions that I was just asked before that blockchain or train over here to the stage. You know, which is, you know, some of those things in the world that, you know, really challenge us. You know, those things that we see that make us question, you know, this reality. You know, those things that can, you know, if we're not solid in our foundation, knowing where we stand and that which we stand for, you know, because we've taken the time to ask ourselves who we are, to know who we are, where we come from, and why we're here, to know our principles, right? That which we're prepared to live for. And so I don't want to play the game of blame and shame. I truly so believe in humanity. I so believe in us that I have a hard time believing that, you know, there are just a bunch of truly evil people that truly understand the harm that they're doing. You know, I believe in this kind of concept of forgive them for they know not what they do. There may be energies, you know, entities and things at work that are causing people to do and create great harm in the world. But I like to believe, and I don't say this from a place of knowing, but I like to believe that they're probably just acting out of self-interest or self-preservation. You know, that doesn't make it right. But there is an opportunity to make it light. There is an opportunity, you know, to take accountability, to take responsibility and say, I'm sorry. You know, it's like Oponopono. And so, for example, as we look at COVID, the numbers I've seen that are that 20% of all the world's billionaires made their money from this economic opportunity that was created through this pandemic. And so maybe it was an economic incentive that motivated people to do these things, perhaps more so than, the worst ideas that we have. That's what I want to believe. I want to believe that we are inherently good and that we've made mistakes or we've had to learn lessons in our collective journey and evolution. And, as we, come back together and, not revolution, but evolution, through love. Love is the answer. Through the heart is the door. That is the gateway. And so as we talk about billionaires, and by the way, when I talked about money earlier, I always like to say that a billionaire to me is not someone with $1 billion, but someone who's positively impacting the lives of 1 billion people, which we all have the potential to do. I like to take old symbols or old concepts and reinvent them. To transform them. Like metamorphosis. How do we take these old concepts and make them better? And this is a practice that's been utilized for a long time. And so I just want to talk briefly about Bitcoin as we talk about this old world and new world, concept of a billionaire. When Bitcoin hits $100,000, roughly at that point, a majority of all the world's billionaires will have made their money from cryptocurrency. A majority? That's kind of a crazy number. And when you think about historically this concept of money, people that made their money generationally, or even those that have worked for decades to make it, they often end up with this sense of entitlement. It's mine. And that's where this hoarding, possessive, flawed perspective comes from. And for those that made it with more ease and more grace, I like to believe these are the people that are more willing to invest in the ideas that they think are ready to be birthed in this time to give to those in need. And that's why I'm willing to give all that I have to lead by example. Again, forgive them for they know not what they do, because they haven't been taught or shown a better way. Each one teach one. That is our opportunity to be the change we wish to see in the world. Because most people in the world that we've grown up in, an education system that is a system of indoctrination, how can we blame them? Right? How can we shame them? Most of them don't really know any better. They know it in their heart of heart. They know it in their guts. But in a world of the great deception where there's so much confusion, in this great illusion, how can we expect everyone to know better if they've not been shown by those of us that are willing to challenge the status quo, knowing that there is a better way? And so at a time that we face existential threats from so many different directions, environmentally, economically, racially, geopolitically, politically, that's why, again, we have to have so much compassion, because how can we expect everyone to know if they haven't been shown? Be the light, the guiding light. Let's walk into this together and bring all of our brothers and sisters along for the way. One of the other points that was made, as we talk about socialism and all of its, call it variance, at its core, it comes from a place of compassion. Collective compassion actually sounds like a pretty good idea to me. But when that collectivism takes away from our individualism and removes the individual responsibility as well as the incentive, the individual incentive, the truth is not in collective compassionism. It's also not in pure individual personal incentive. The truth lies in the balance, right? As that we find that middle road that creates that collective compassionate capitalism, right? And that's what I see. And so no one is really wrong. We're all right. And when we restore that balance, as we complete this gender alchemy, the divine masculine, feminine, and all of these things, right? It's in that Venn diagram, and right there through the middle, as we put that arrow through the needle, that is where we collectively transform. And so it's all good. It's all good. This is part of the process. You know, I've had a chance to talk to a few of you individually. And so I'm a big believer in the United States of America. Not this current divided states of America, but I believe in the roots of where this came from. You know, as those English men at their time challenged the status quo of that day and that time, you know, challenging the tyranny to give us our independence, right? I believe that America is meant to be the light of the world. And though that light is dimming, I believe we have the ability to light it all the way back up. I believe America, in the not too distant future, rises from these ashes like a phoenix to become the light of the world, knowing that we have one world, one earth. We're all in this together, this whole us versus them. We are us and we are them. You know, there is no real me. We experience this reality from that perspective, but it's all we. And so, you know, I want to remind us to act, you know, to act now. The future is going to happen to you or with you. So let's create that future, that better world together. You know, let's act now. And dream. Dream impossible things. Impossible is spelt I am. I am possible. You know, the great I am, the collective consciousness, that Christ consciousness that lives in all of us, may it awaken. All praise be to God. You know, let's make sure that everybody's voice, you know, in the beginning there was the Word. That Word is that gift from God. Let's make sure that everybody's voices are available to be heard. You know, we're not here to censor anyone. You don't have to listen to anyone. You know, we do have discernment. You know, you can be discerning. I encourage discernment. But we're not here to shut anyone down. You know, freedom of speech, the First Amendment, it's not the third or the fifth. It's the first for a reason. Because when we take away the voice, we lose all reason. We lose all reason. And so I believe so much in that. You know, we got this one earth. You know, let's fulfill these ancient prophecies, these Hopi prophecies, these rainbow warriors, all colors, all creeds, the eagle and the condor. You know, we rise together, you know, to this new earth. Let's make it better. Thank you so much for being present here. I look forward to seeing you on the circuit or the circus, you know, that that festival, you know, as we collectively light it all up. Let there be light. Let that spark ignite.
Yeah. Hey, stay here real quick. I want to tell him something. So, I was talking to this beautiful brother, and I was giving a message. And so when you soften as a masculine and you go in to the belly, into your womb, into the feminine, and like I was saying, the ego, when it speaks to you, and when the land and when the ancestors speak to you, it's a very beautiful thing to witness and to remember, like the message that you're here for. And I was telling them, like, I've been doing this stuff for community and children like all my life, but like, where's this money coming from? Where's this train coming from? And I started to listen to this brother from Christina, and it didn't hit me like, oh, the money's going to come from blockchain. It came like a voice from the ego and from our ancestors. This is a very unique situation and time that we have. And for this brother to be here right now, and for you to be here, like this, like your voice matters, your music matters, Christina matters, but like this blockchain and this crypto, like this is changing our reality, and all the things that we're creating and all the things that we're in our room and we're creating and moving that energy. But now we have something quantifiably tangible to like show up for ourselves, and this is like the pioneer and a leader. So like it's an honor to be here with you, brother. It's an honor to see you and to witness you and to see the light that you're bringing. And I'm so happy and grateful for all of you to be here, and Christine for bringing them. Oh.